What's up everyone, Alex here. After playing and enjoying my time with Atelier Ryza when it came out years ago, I started looking into what games in the series that would serve as the perfect follow-up game to play. Several community members suggested that I check out the games in the Mysterious Trilogy, and after looking these up, I was instantly enamored by the idea of jumping into paintings, chatting with talking books, and exploring bold new lands. I've been playing the PS4 version of the Atelier Mysterious Trilogy DX for the past 2 weeks now, and while that's certainly not enough time to finish the entire trilogy, I still wanted to share with you 5 things that you need to know before playing these games. I'll be approaching this video from the perspective of someone who's only played Atelier Ryza, but I do hope that you find lots of helpful information regardless of your affinity towards the series. I also want to thank Koei Tecmo for providing this code, and if you like JRPGs, Japanese niche games, and more, please leave a like, comment, then subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. All that said, let's jump on in. Number 1. Start with Atelier SOPHIE. As with most Atelier games, you can play the Mysterious Trilogy in any order you so wish. There are no unresolved storylines that are carried over between games, so you won't have to worry about that. However, if you do plan on eventually playing every game in the trilogy, it's highly recommended that you start with Atelier SOPHIE, as it'll make it easier for you to keep track of recurring character storylines. What's the correct order to play the games in this trilogy? That'd be Atelier SOPHIE first, followed by Atelier Firis, then Atelier Lydie and Sewell. Number 2. Time limits. This might come as a shock for new Atelier fans, but the series used to implement time limits. These limits would often force the whole game to end, and depending on what you've accomplished up to that point, some games even allowed you to choose what kind of ending you'd like to experience. Both Atelier Firis and Atelier Lydie and Sewell feature time limits. Atelier Firis' time limit is fairly strict. You have 365 in-game days to complete the first half of the story, and if you're unable to meet this requirement, the game stops and will trigger an early bad ending. Players and reviewers alike have noted that this limit doesn't give you much leeway to do side quests, so it's highly recommended that you focus on the main story and only the main story. That said, upon successful completion of this requirement, the time limit is lifted, allowing you the freedom to do whatever you want afterwards. Atelier Lydie and Sewell's time limit asks you to reach ALCHEMY rank B within 30 in-game days. If you're unable to achieve this, the game will stop and give you a joke ending that's actually worth checking out. While this time limit might sound stricter than Atelier Firis, it's actually very easy to reach this goal, provided that you spend your time wisely. All things considered, Atelier Firis and Atelier Lydie and Sewell's time limits are fairly generous when compared to older games in the series, and given the info I've shared with you today, you should be ready to go when tackling these challenges. Number 3. English voice acting. The Mysterious Trilogy is the last Atelier series to feature English voice acting, and only Atelier SOPHIE and Atelier Firis have them. While both games aren't fully voice acted, you can expect to hear spoken dialogue during certain major story and friend events in each game. The frequency of voice acting is the same for both English and Japanese voiceovers. As for the performances, I do have to say that the English voice acting is quite good and helps set the tone for both games. My only gripe is that the characters mispronounce the word atelier, pronouncing it as Atelier instead. It's now beginning to make sense as to why people thank me for pronouncing the word correctly in my Atelier reviews. Number 4. Unique alchemy system. If you've only played one Atelier game before, you might be surprised to learn that each trilogy features brand new alchemy systems. Synthesizing in the Mysterious Trilogy is based on a grid-based system that takes into account both the materials you've selected as well as the order in which you add said materials. This determines both the quality of the final product as well as what traits that will be imbued into it. Just looking at it firsthand, the Mysterious Trilogy's alchemy system might look a bit daunting, but the visual compact depiction of the entire process makes it a bit more comprehensible when compared to other Atelier games. Its tutorials aren't quite as obtuse as Atelier Ryza's, though you might still come away from them with a questionable understanding of how things work. Thankfully, the Mysterious Trilogy system is a bit easier to mix, match, and swap materials with, even when compared to Atelier Ryza. In other words, this system allows you to play around with your materials easily so that you can quickly see the results of your changes before actually committing to the final product. And as you can probably tell, this aspect of the alchemy system is one of the things that I am enjoying a lot in this trilogy. Number 5. DX exclusive features. The DX versions of each game adds a plethora of new features that even fans of the original games will enjoy. Atelier's SOPHIE DX will have a brand new costume, as well as an exclusive storyline that tells the tale of how Sophie copes with the pressure of having to continue her late grandmother's legacy as a town alchemist. Atelier Mysterious DX will have 4 brand new vehicles and several items to improve your progression through the game. There's also the addition of several new bosses that, when defeated, unlock a battle with a powerful new foe. And last but certainly not least, Atelier Lydie and Suelle DX's connection with Nelke and the legendary alchemists will be strengthened thanks to a brand new explorable painting, allowing you to meet Nelke von Lestam. This brand new storyline will challenge the twins to help Lady Nelke develop the city of Westwald, as well as embark on brand new quests and defeat fearsome new foes. Having played Atelier Dusk Trilogy DX before, I would have to say that I had an easier time getting into the Atelier Mysterious Trilogy DX games more than the former. Given that this series was released directly before Atelier Ryza, you can start to see glimpses of what that series was going to be just by playing these games. And even though I haven't finished any of them yet, I can already see why many members of our community recommended playing the Mysterious Trilogy above all else. For the folks who have played the games in the Mysterious Trilogy, I'd love to read any additional advice you can give me and our community when playing these games. And for anyone curious about this series, post any questions you may have in the comments below. And if you like this video, please let me know by leaving a like, comment, then subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and see you online.